Hey K1 friends, check out our little ones. I think it's nap time for two of them anyways. The other one, the smaller one, he's just hanging out.
He's like, where'd my mom go?
Yeah, Mom and Dad are somewhere. They're just not at the nest. So maybe they'll fly in pretty soon while we're doing... Oh, look at that. That's from far away.
Oh, that's cool.
What?
So mom or dad is there, just not in the picture.
Exactly.
Like.
Teaching them independence, I guess, already at a young age. All right, so yesterday we talked about feathers and all the different reasons they're on the bird, whether it's a tail feather, a down feather, or feathers that help them stay warm, feathers that keep them floating on the water, that are waterproof, ones that help them slide like the penguins, so all the different ways that feathers help. So today we're going to talk about the beaks that are sometimes called bills, and we're going to read this cool book called The Beak Book. And we're going to get to see some different shapes. And as we're doing that, I'll tell you about why the shapes help these birds. All right, The Beak Book by Pamela Chanko. So this beak is red, and this beak is brown. Every bird has a bill, which is more commonly known as a beak. Beaks are feeding tools for birds and come in many different shapes and sizes. The shape and form of a bird's beak is a good indication of what the bird eats and how it gets its food. So this little guy, he's a cardinal. What do you think he might eat? He has a short, strong beak, which is well suited for eating seeds. So he can pick up those seeds and crack them open and eat them up. And then this little guy, he's a parakeet, and he likes to eat and he crushes things. So he'll pick it up with his the hook there and he'll crush it and open up, and he has to open the seed to get the seed part out, the meat. And so usually seeds and nuts, and parakeets also eat insects and fruit. So they have a few different things. So two different shorter beaks, but strong. This beak is up and this beak is down. It's kind of like our eaglets when they're eating. They have their mouth open ready for food. So this little robin, they have short beaks, very well suited for ground feeding, and they usually use their beaks to pull up worms that they scratch on the dirt and leaves, and they uncover either insects or snails, or even fallen fruit from a tree. So this is a little baby one, but as the robin gets older. And then this little guy, what do you think he's looking for? He's an oyster catcher. That's the name of him. And he lives on the shore, and he uses his long, strong beak or bill to open the shells of hard-bodied sea creatures, kind of like mussels. So he has to get down. So sometimes if the shore is deeper, that's a good thing. They have a longer beak to find that. So two very different ones. This beak is open and this beak is shut. Look at those shapes of beaks. Do you know what birds these are? This is a white pelican, and he uses his enormous pouch-like beak to scoop up water, and this fills. And do you know how much water can fill in his bill there? 2 gallons. So big 1-gallon milks, 2 of them fill in there. And then he drains out all the water, and he's got a whole fish usually in his mouth if he's catching it right, and he just swallows it whole, just like that. So that white pelican, that's how he eats. And then this little guy, he is called, I gotta turn my page.
I think he's a spoonbill.
Yep, he is a spoonbill. And check out the spoon shape, how he has on his beak. It's a large wading bird, and he goes in shallow waters that uses its long bill. And with its broad, flat, round tip, it sweeps through the water and filters out small fish or little animals. So he uses that kind of as a filter to find what he eats. All right, then we have this beak can peck, this beak can cut. And we know why, because if you've watched the birds, how the mama eagle feeds. So this one over here is called a northern flicker. It's a type of woodpecker, and he feeds mainly on ants and other ground
I have
dwellers.
flickers in my yard right now.
Do you hear them also? So yeah, so there he is in the sharp beak. And then we have the bald eagle. He is a bird of prey, and he uses his strong, sharp, curved beaks to tear like he's torn when he gets a fish, if you've seen that. And that's what this sharp point is. And then we have, this beak is big, and this one is small.
Oh, it's tiny.
I know, so little. So this guy, does anyone know who he is? He is a toucan, and he eats fruits, bugs, and eggs, and its long beak enables it to reach food on high, thin tree branches that his body wouldn't hold. So because the thin branches have all the fruit, his long beak would let him reach across without having to go on it. and then he gets the food and eats it. And then this little guy, he's called with the little tiny beak that's so little. It's called a turaco, and it uses its tiny, precise beak to eat fruit. And we had a ninja come into our room.
What?
She's ready. Look, it's Thursday. Time for yoga.
Oh, we miss yoga.
She's going to learn about the eagles and the beaks. All right, and then these two beaks together, that was on the front of the page, magic page. There it is. These guys are called crowned cranes, and they live in marshland habitat, and they eat bugs, frogs, toads, plants, and grains. And there's all those 12 beaks that we talked about. All the different shapes and sizes all do different things. So the next time you see a bird,
Oh, sorry.
its beak, and see what kind of food you think they might eat.
I'm trying not to show the eaglets unless we're talking about them.
I know.
So that they're not so
They're just still
distracting.
hanging. Oh, look,
They
he's
were all
holding-
awake a minute
They're
ago.
snuggling.
Oh, the littlest one moved closer to his little brothers and sisters.
They're right at the edge.
I know. But they must know.
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why Mom was nearby.
Oh, they're all going to sleep now. Even the
Time for a nap
littlest
for
one.
everybody. All right,
Oh,
have fun.
he heard you. He popped up.
She's like, what, are you talking about me? Have fun. Watch the birds. Be those ornithologists. Use your binoculars if you need to. And find out the different types of beaks. All right, see ya.